So I need to have an else here, correct?
So I'm gonna
Well,
say
we can just do this as it is now. The UI will either show a list or not show a list,
Okay.
and then we can dazzle people with what an else looks like if we want to.
Okay.
well, I was gonna say we stick with the not version instead of the else.
Oh.
You're gonna end up.
We're gonna have round 2 of our fight.
Okay. Well, I'm
like an async pipe with a not in it.
Or just not a
So you're gonna call your get twice in order to see if you did get something.
Then you gotta throw a share replay.
Then you gotta put a share replay, and this example's getting complicated.
2 layers.
So wait, why am I not polling?
Were we polling?
You're not calling. Did you ever switch it to call poll?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not pulling? You're just pulling the correct one every time? You need to switch it offline. Right?
No.
But I would think
We should see the Ajax request every 2 seconds.
Oh, I see. You're on the network. Yeah.
All right. So let's see the code again.
Well, let me reload it. Maybe just things got bad. And then
There it
is. Okay.
I think there is a limit.
Yeah, but I mean, poll 1 is the broken one, so if it failed for any reason.
Like you're saying, if it was sitting there doing it while we were.
This is our bad implementation.
So at some point I had a bad URL, and so it killed it from then on, and we just needed to refresh it once I fixed the URL. All right.
Well, we've already identified one problem. Our data is not obviously being refreshed. Like, it is being refreshed, but we can't tell it's being refreshed just in the UI.
Could you just randomly sort it somewhere in here?
Or we could do start with, put something fake in and a delay or something like that, just so for, a half a second it shows something else.
Now we're back to our other stuff.
Yeah, that's another step.
Okay.
That's a whole other step. So that's what the other.
But this could be
was just to mark it offline, show it die, put it back online, show it come back up.
Yeah. This could be where our console log comes back in, our console table, because the console would actually show, look, data, refreshed, refreshed, refreshed. The UI is not changing because the data's not changing, everything's hunky-dory, but
we do see the network tab.
So you just want to use the network tab
as the console in there.
Where did the console log come from?
Console log is here in the
data arrived right there. Okay. I mean, it is not a bad thing to show people the network tab. Again, a lot of this class's value is like, look, the dev tools exist. You should be good with them. So I'm not against that.
I would say let's leave line 39 out also. Like, I really want this to. I want us to start from a position of having pared this thing all the way down.
All right, kill it.
So, because we still aren't there yet of having demonstrated the core thing we wanted to demonstrate. Okay. So, over on back on the template though, we want something on the else half of the story to show when things have gone awry. That way, when we kill the network, we see that, oh yes, now the data's disappeared.
Okay, convince me of what you're wanting to put there.
Well, first, what happens now? So, as it kicks off,
if it dies,
should go away.
Mission accomplished.
Okay.
So I think we're done.
Oh, right.
I think we're done there.
Okay.
I don't think we need the else. I don't think we need to fight that battle here.
Okay.
All right. So now, if we go back into the code, we can move on to the next thing.
We'll verify if we go back online.
That it does not come back.
It doesn't magically come back to life. If it did, then this would be a different video from this point forward as we debug what's wrong with Angular.
It would also fail every 2,000 milliseconds too.
What?
It would also fail every 2,000 milliseconds too.
It would continue.
It would continue to fail.
No, because the observable poll would have been canceled because of the.
Well, like if we had it the right way though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's not necessarily obvious to someone seeing this the first time. But that is a really good point.
So I think the only thing we need to do is inside of the switch map.
I need to step out for a minute for more important matters.
More important than this?
Here. Jack, would you like to have a seat?
Jack, come on in. Be the new John.
More sober John.
Hi, new John.
That's our project. We're going to swap.
Okay, what were you trying to say?
Yeah, the keystrokes.
So I think if we dupe the switch map and put one up above it that calls get employees. Hang on with me for a second here. Now comment line 34. It's like it would start in this state and then delete the blank line on 36. So it would start in this state, and then the switch, John left, he was the one who had the most opinions on this. The only thing we've got to do is we've got to switch uncomment line 34, comment lines 35, 36. Like, it can't get more straightforward to the students,
Mm-hmm.
like, the difference here than that.
Okay, I'm digging this.
So let's first make sure that the thing actually runs.
So I will now have to reload because I've switched to the right thing.
Correct.
And the old one's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So now, okay.
Clear the network so we can actually see each request as it happens. It's very obvious. Okay, we go offline. Should see it fail every 2 seconds.
It continues to fail because it's still
Right.
trying.
And then should come back to life.
Ta-da.
There you go.
So we've got the network tab for our reporting, and then we've got, if you go back to the code base, like the difference is you swap 3 lines of comment.
So we
So
clean up lines 26 to 28.
Yeah, we can get rid of the
Yeah.
the variable entirely. Then you can do the same on 34 with the getting rid of the variable name. I mean, that, and then scroll up a little bit, we can actually put the whole thing on the screen. And then the important bits.
Do we want to rename line 30?
We need.
Yeah.
Sorry, John's back here off screen.
Hi, John.
We've.
We've kind of gotten used to new John though.
All right. I'm out. This is not intuitive to an instructor at all.
yeah, what you need
Compared
to
to
do.
what it was?
Yeah.
Well, I
Just
mean,
two random lines commented.
well,
We have that in a lot of
you've
places.
identified another problem.
Okay.
And pardon us as you, those of you watching along at home, here's some sausage about to get made. We do not do a good job of A, keeping the instructor notes up to date, and B, getting the instructors to read the damn instructor notes. This is a perfect example of that. How to teach this lesson. And lessons need that. And they need those notes, and instructors need to know that they should go read them.
Because I, as much as we initially leaned on and appreciated like embedding the notes and the hints in the example, like I would like to start aggressively moving away from that so that it really is just a story. For
Yeah,
the students.
I would rather the code be commented or something.
But we have the exact
Because-
same thing with routing though. Like with the preload strategy, it's just 2 lines commented on like different parts of the file. And it's up to the instructor to know to uncomment those lines.
But there are also a lot of comments in that routing, like the first routing
yes,
file.
there is some.
Let's try it the way John's describing, because I think a couple of comments in here that basically says, start with this one, or but then uncomment and try the others, whatever we want to say here.
Or like,
my
just
point though
right
is
after line 31, a comment says this works, and then a blank line or 2 after the switch map, just to show that those are 3 lines, and it's not immediately obvious that 2 of them go together.
Yeah, I mean, it can be as simple as this works, ... and then on the line you're on now,
yeah.
... but this one doesn't, period. Why not? Question mark.
This doesn't work.
No, I think you want work $sign.
Oh.
Great.
I was trying for a long time to remember what the terminology for it, but encoding the type into the name of the variable is Hungarian notation,
Yeah.
which is similar to what we're doing with the $sign, but
It's called Finnish notation when you're talking about the $sign in observables, because it's named after Andre Staltz, who is
gotcha. And I mean
Andre Staltz, observable hero for anyone watching along at home.
Wait, do we need get employees as a separate function now, or should it just be like direct in line?
Well, see, this has actually been a point of confusion in previous classes, where the get employees, people sometimes think, oh, if I just put my stuff off in a different function, then that must magically make it work, and that is not the point at all.
On the flip side, what this does is it shows very clearly how catch error has nothing to do with this outside pipe.
Right, but in the instructor notes, we need to put in there, here is what you're trying to convey.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we're back to really needing instructors to understand what's going on here, first of all, and then understand how to teach this. Because John's right. If you just drop in here, especially without these comments, You have no idea what's going on.
Start with the first one. Yeah, there you go.
Wait, rename, take the one off of full.
Well, or
We're gonna rename it.
Yeah, we're just gonna constantly get yellow squigglies from line 24.
it's sometimes awesome depending upon which lines we include. Like, I don't know.
It's still a poll.
Right.
Get latest data.
Yeah.
Really, we are not going to argue it. No, don't use the word data.
Get latest employee.
We're not going to argue.
Dollar
No.
sign.
Like, I heard the word data, and my spider sense like, no, stop it.
Well, here's all I was trying to go with the name, like latest or current or whatever, because it indicates, oh, I'm going back and getting this thing again. Poll indicated that as well.
Like a
Poll
poll
employees
employees would have been good.
Yeah. I vote for poll employees. 'Cause that's
Okay,
what we're
so
doing.
a mechanics question.
I kind of like latest.
Well, let's answer who's done all the work.
Mechanics question. Unused function, is this going to break our linting and therefore break the build?
It will.
Yep.
And we have dealt with this in previous steps, like Zachary mentioned, by simply commenting this out until it's ready.
I feel like we're
A
running
lot of conversation.
head on to the problem we were trying to get away from, which is
Keep it public.
jumping around, commenting and uncommenting code to prove something works.
That's actually.
Is this a place where we want to have like two actually different employee services? One that
Oh, that's complicated.
works and one that doesn't? One that is good, one that is bad?
I feel like it should be public.
When we got rid of the two
It makes sense to me.
methods, the thinking was that it wasn't easy enough to compare what was different between the two methods because it was two separate blocks of code. I don't know if making it two services might actually fix that by it's in two files you can put up side by side, but it also makes it a lot more complex in that there's still a lot of lines of code between the two.
What? Go ahead.
I feel like you can argue for why get employees would be public and actually illustrates a point. So get employees, it has the call of employee and it has the error handling all encapsulated in a reusable method because maybe there's some other place that doesn't want to pull for employees, just wants to make a one-time call. So even though we're not actually using it in this small example, it makes sense that it would be public, and you can also see, this is an improvement. Before, if we didn't have the catch error stuff in the get employees, then it's up to everybody who calls this get employees method to re-implement the error handling. Whereas now we've got the error handling next to the actual call, and it can be reused in different ways.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with get employees at all, and all of what she said makes a whole bunch of sense. Where do we land on the commenting things out and like switching between these two things?
Do we go back to what I proposed earlier, that we have two different polling functions, one that's good, one that's bad, they're both showing up on the screen, we slice it down to show 5 so that they can be visible, and we can have them both there, and you turn one off and one of them dies.
So it would essentially be this function, again, poll employees good, poll employees bad.
Yeah.
And it would just be the blocks in the middle that are changing. Those may be small enough that you can do that. Now, I mean, I live in an editor where pulling up those two things side by side, even if they're in the same file, works fine. Can you do that in VS Code?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can open up the same file more
Actually,
than
the
once.
biggest problem with what I just suggested is then we're going to simultaneously have two different calls here, and it's going to make what's going on in the network tab more
I didn't
complicated.
mean side by side like in the UI. I didn't understand what you were saying. I thought you meant two separate functions, one of which is good, one of which is bad, and we're simply switching which one we're using.
What I was originally saying earlier is that in the UI we have both visible at the same time, and so when we turn off the network, you can see that one of them's, that their behavior, or when you go offline and they're back online, one of them reanimates and the other doesn't. So.
I like it the way it is right now.
Yeah, this is very crystalline simple.
I'm okay with this. I didn't like the comment uncomment when we were going to have to comment out the get employees block as well. But now that we're just down to these lines, I think it's okay.
So how do we want the comments to read? When we say this doesn't work, I know that was my phrasing, but it's kind of a placeholder. So this dies after the first error. It's probably a way to say that. Something.
Does not recover.
having that comment.
Well, get rid of all that. Like in general, it recovers.
Well, I'm just thinking the reason
This
I
gives a clue to the instructor what to do.
Yeah, this recovers after errors.
But I think that will
Instructor notes.
that's going to hit students in a way where like, yeah, but how do I recover from all these other different
Yeah.
failure modes?
Fair enough.
Like that's a silly example you just gave me. Like my users aren't doing that. I need a more generic recovery mechanism.
Fair enough.
But
Fair enough.
Put a comment somewhere, just like a comment somewhere that just says demonstrate functionality by taking the browser offline, or
if we
Like in the instructor file?
well
Maybe?
if we added to line 32 a more generic statement of this does not recover from network issues,
here's my problem with the instructor file.
that should be the hint.
So instructor files can be useful if you're going through and studying everything the day before class,
Yeah.
which and retaining all of that information. Yes, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Yes, if you study all this
I'm
and
just
retain
giving you
all the
grief, man.
information,
5
but
o'clock. So
I'm never going to see it during class.
Right.
And so, yeah, so if I wasn't preparing to teach 706, I might not have read the instructor file, and I don't like bringing up the instructor file during class. And it's like, hold on, everybody.
Yeah,
A lot of
I
times I
don't-
only have one monitor.
I don't ever do that.
Well, run the app that lets you see the instructor file on your phone, your tablet.
I think you may be literally the only person who uses that outcome.
That's not true.
I didn't know that existed. I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah. I've worked here only 2
Yeah.
years, not long enough to know about that.
I knew there was a separate one for AngularJS that
So
ran
Kyle's got a good
ran
point.
it.
Instead of bringing it up on the
Push.
screen, I'm going to
We'll
pull out my
pause there for now.
phone.
So we're not going to handle updating the
Well, you
explanation.
just
So we
read
will handle that soon.
Okay. Should I put a to-do or anything in here so that we don't forget it? Anything just to remind us so that we don't forget. If you are comfortable that you will remember.
I mean, that has to be changed anyways. There's poll 2 doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But this is just raw text, so everything will still work with the raw text not updated, but it needs to be
Except
updated.
for the PDF. The outline will have this twice.
No, it won't because it skips folders.
Fair enough. But okay.
We can at least change the text appropriately up there. So observable error recovery. And then
And 14 still holds very true.
Yes. So eliminate all that. Maybe there's stuff in there you actually do want to keep and just take it out with take out the pull 1, pull 2.
Yeah.
What do you?
I was going to say just eliminate all that and replace it with a to-do that says update this with the current implementation, but there's stuff in there that's good. It's just still referring to
On line
methods.
2, throw in that statement to do update this, and then when we look at the diff to figure out what's left, we'll see.
Yeah.
See that at the top.
I like it.
Okay.
And then commit push that. That way we can get into a solid spot here.
Okay. So let's make sure that we're happy with what got changed.
I mean we're in progress. We still have so much to do.
Okay.
Like the other half.
Yeah, this is the WIP.
Okay. So. All right. Yeah. So I don't need to. Some of the projects we have to have a special name here, but like at the beginning of our thing. So I just
Yeah, this is just a work in progress commit.
Yeah.
So.
work in progress.
Yeah, in a sense, the branch name tells the whole story.
Most riveting part of the whole video, right?
That's right. Making up a
No one
commit-
talk because then we can
text.
speed this up.
Making a commit text will end up be deleted and more concisely summarized anyway.
You've got N-3 more characters than I have on the WIP commit.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I think you need to wrap this since it's, how long is this video?
So
7
A
days.
while.
It's an hour and 15.
all right. So
29 minutes.
To our remaining viewer, thank you.
There's like a half-hour chunk. of gaming
that's
then.
interesting. Okay. So
That was actually
consider
good,
these.
Yeah, no, that was a great like half-hour
Yeah.
chunk.
And
What
Yeah.
you decided or add?
That's
Yeah,
the
I'm
naming
surprised.
Oh,
You ready?
yeah.
Ready?
I
Okay.
love naming fights. You guys better send this
Alright.
down the river and wrap it up.
All right. Again, thanks everyone.
Hope you had as much fun as we did.